D-U-Z, D-U-Z.
Put Duz in your washing machine. Take your clothes out bright and clean. When you does your wash, you'll sing. D-U-Z does everything.
Hello there. We've been waiting for you. It's time
For the Soul of Detroit.
Yes,
The Soul of Detroit.
it's the show that does everything on the air, brought to you by Duz, the soap that does everything in your wash. Now, meet the man with the nation's top secrets, the man who knows who Miss Hush is. That Truth or Consequences guy.
ML Elric.
You asked her to ride your questions around my suit. It's gone.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Al?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric coming to you with my friends Mark Fellhauer and Shawn Windsor, who, if you heard last week's show, gifted us with a song for Room 7609, and he's back this week with a new nomination from the Rolling Stones, perhaps from their album Sticky Fingers.
Oh, gross.
That is not cool.
No?
We'll start off on a really gross
That is, yeah.
note.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm happy to make the handoff. Maybe clean slate.
Oh, I see. I see
Maybe
what you're doing.
it's,
Yeah.
just
Is this something that?
try and unload my burden.
Is this something that you look? Okay.
I don't want to pile on.
No. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure you got 100 of these. You alluded to it last week, and I do.
Wait, let's hear
This
all
is our-
100.
I do. It is sort of a universal
This
bit.
is actually our number 2 show.
It's a universal bit,
the
and
week.
and I want to get to it. But before I do that, because that's fun, can I just ask you a
Yes, sir.
question? That's a little
Shawn
bit more,
also has an entry for Streak of the Week,
a
which
little
we'll
bit
be
more.
doing.
Okay, there's another. I guess. Do we call that foreshadowing?
His favorite Jack White band,
Brown stripes.
the Brown Stars.
Oh yeah, you knew that was coming.
That's the worst one.
Did you guys? Because I missed part of the show last week.
Yes.
You were talking politics. Did anybody bring up? I don't know, and I know this happens, but
Because you
there was
listened to it, so you know the answer already,
I
right?
can't wait to hear what this is going to be about.
I was commuting
Because
and-
you downloaded the show.
No, and I don't. And,
And other
this
things.
is a tough,
Download.
intractable. God, I can't speak today. Apparently, the commute over
Right.
here. I guess I don't
Probably
know.
shagged out.
All that snow,
making a big splash.
all that snow last week.
Tsunami.
It's a tsunami of snow. With the talk of Canada becoming our 51st state.
Yeah.
right? So
Gaza being number 52.
would that help us keep people from dying in vans from the cold in the parking? I mean, look, we're used to awful news.
You gotta set that one up a little bit. Shawn.
No, I will. I'm going to go back and just let me just say this. I know we're immune in a way. You almost have to survive, right? There's too much awfulness and tragedy in the world, and you can't focus on all of it, or you can't get through the day. There's psychologists and sociologists have been telling us that we know this about ourselves. Every now and again, though, guys, a headline slips through that you're just like, shouldn't we be past this? A mom and her 5 kids driving into a van, I think it was last week, and
At the Greektown Casino.
The Greektown Casino, and tried to run the car for a while, ran out of gas, and then they slept there because they were unhoused, as I think it's called at this point. And 2 of the kids died because they froze to death. And I just
9 and 2.
9 and 2.
Yeah.
At what point? And here's the thing: we talk a lot about politics because I don't want to get that Democrat, Republican, whatever. Our politicians on both sides in every way don't talk about poverty anymore, and just basic human. A basic level of human living, right? A basic fundamental standard where we don't have people freezing in vans in a metropolitan area in this country. Would Canada help with that if we included them as our 51st state?
It's even colder there, Shawn. I don't know that that's going to help us.
Some people would say you could do both.
Can you do both? Can we just say, okay, fine, we're going to take Greenland, we're going to take Canada, but can we keep people from freezing to death in the vans?
Well, so the story is
You mean red, white, and blue land? instead of Greenland.
Yeah, what's the story?
As it's been
I don't know
proposed.
about you, Mike, but just sometimes you just see something like, oh my God, can't we? There's got to be a way we can at least prevent that. I'm not talking about giving anybody some standard of living, just keeping people warm.
I mean, this is what's tricky because, yeah, sure, there's not enough attention to the real poor, people and homeless people. Like, there just isn't.
We have too much money in this country for that, to me.
I agree. That being said, it's never going to go away. It will never be an absolute zero. Can we do better? Yep.
That headline was just...
It's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about what a tough life that 9-year-old has probably gone through. It's just, yeah. And now they have siblings that have lost 2 of their siblings that are still living in a pretty crappy life.
Yeah, I don't think taking over Canada is going to solve that problem.
Well, we could do both, right? There's probably people freezing in Toronto.
We could take over Canada and Greenland.
If I had to choose one, I guess I would
Gaza.
I would try and make sure that all families, have a warm place to stay. I'd
It's
probably focus on that.
it's our manifest destiny, Shawn.
It is. Is that what it is?
Well, isn't that what manifest destiny was to stretch it from ocean to ocean and take over the whole
From coast to coast.
continent? And I think the rest of us taking over the rest of the continent.
President Polk, one of our
You know what's funny? I wouldn't care.
appreciated presidents.
Isn't that terrible? Like, should I care if that he wants Canada to be the 51st state?
I love Canada, so I love going to Canada.
Exactly.
And anything that makes it easier for me to visit Canada, I probably
So-
should be.
and
for.
It'd be
frankly,
like driving from over the state line between Iowa and Illinois.
Yeah.
That's what we want, right?
Yeah. What's crazy, and this is the genius of Trump, because the whole thing about Greenland and Panama is that they are kind of strategic positions for us. It seems ridiculous to be like, we're going to take over Greenland. Yeah. But I think it doesn't hurt us to have a strategic position in Greenland and the Arctic.
By the way, just the thinking about the van and the car real quick. Did you guys ever were you ever fans of Between Two Ferns?
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Zach Galifianakis. Galifianakis in his show, he had the comedian Tiffany Haddish on one time who lived in her car for a while.
She did, yep.
And he asked her if that was as fun as it sounded.
Well, there's that guy that lived in your rental car and left his jacket behind.
Yeah.
Green jacket guy.
That guy had a blast in your car. God only knows what he did.
Yeah. Oh, who knows?
It was what was it? What was the movie where they said where the bums were having sex in the back of the guy's car? So we got your car.
The soup. What do they call it?
The other guys, wasn't it?
Dirty
With
Mike and the boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say bums, though, it makes me think of the Big Lebowski when he's saying didn't he say the bums lost?
That's right.
The revolution or something like that. The revolution is over.
The revolution's over. The bums lost.
The bums lost.
The bums lost, sir.
Yeah,
Bums
that's
lost.
right. He kept adding sir and
Yeah.
he kept adding sir and yeah. By the way, is there an HR department at this Red Shovel Network?
No.
Because
What's wrong?
I just
There was, but we had to lay them off when we lost a sponsor.
I got you.
But we're still grateful for our sponsors.
You want a certain standard. I
goes
don't.
the plug, right?
Sometimes I
Slipped away.
as maybe some of the listeners know, I have to sneak up rather during room 76090 to use the restroom. But it's quick. I mean, as quick as I am at this age. But number one, quick. But once in a blue moon, you got to go number two. And one of the cardinal rules of going number two before you sit down and start going number two is to making sure there's some kind of toilet paper or even tissue paper.
Is that one of the rules? Because shouldn't that just be expected?
But if you occasionally have to, and you're out in public and you got to go to a grocery store or some kind of gas station to go number two, don't you look first to make sure there's toilet paper in there?
I would say no, because if I'm going in a grocery store, it's probably an emergency, and I don't care if there is or not.
Exactly.
I'm not stopping it.
You need the pain to go away for sure, and you don't.
Everything's an emergency at that point.
You don't want it running down your leg. No, for sure. But there was no. So I did, and there was no. And all of a sudden, I realized there's no toilet paper, and then there's no tissue paper, and then I thought, oh shit. So no pun intended. So I got to pull up, zip up.
The best
all
part
that.
is you don't know where it's located in this house
and so I
either.
look under the sink, and there's not there. So then I go.
Should
into
be a smart place to put
I
it.
go into the kitchen and think, oh, paper towels. Well, the paper towel roll was empty.
Now, does it pain you to know that right outside that door to the bathroom here is a cabinet where it all is, and you could have just opened the door.
No
quickly.
idea, and I didn't see the cabinet. I just, there's a door to the stairwell, so I'm looking through the kitchen.
between those doors.
So then I think, oh, what am I going to do? And this is I can't be doing the podcast this way. So I come back down to the studio, and you guys are interviewing some.
Wait! Before you do that, when you're in the bathroom, or then you're looking where the there's no paper towels. Did you look for other items to use, like just loose leaf paper?
I would do that at my own house, but I would not do it in somebody else's house.
What a nice guest you are.
No, because then what are you going to do with it at that point? Put it in a Ziploc bag and
crumble it up.
Put it in my trunk and take it home to my own garbage. I mean, like the anal.
Throw it out the window.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? You don't want to do that. So no, I come back down. I'm trying to be quiet.
Why don't you do
guys
the Borat?
You guys are interviewing.
Bring it down to the kitchen table, the dining table.
You guys were interviewing somebody who wanted to be a Republican party chair.
Yeah, he's very pleased to have been dragged into this story.
And I didn't want to interrupt.
Give Shawn credit for waiting a week.
So I couldn't.
He couldn't wait. That's
I
the
didn't
problem.
want to interrupt that. I wasn't going to say while you're interviewing him, hey, where's the toilet paper? So then I like, okay, what am I going to? How can I get out of this?
Most people would have just asked me. Like,
you were in the middle of a very important show.
I would have. That's an emergency.
Well, fortunately, it was not. It was a sturdier number 2, so that helped a little bit. I mean,
was it a George Brett double taper?
If it were a loose number 2, then I would have been in much bigger trouble. So I'm thinking, can I run up to the store and get something? Hey, I'll contribute to the toilet paper quota at the, that'll make a good employee. And then I remembered as I'm outside.
Have to sit to drive.
Then I remember as I'm outside, I've got some spare napkins in my car. And they were thin napkins because you don't want to use another type of wipe that's going to clog the plumbing system at somebody else's house.
Do you ever think
all
of
these
using
things are going
like
through
a
your
dollar
head.
bill in your wallet or something?
I don't carry cash anymore.
Oh, okay.
But so finally I got the napkins, opened them up, gently tore them up so I had enough pieces to get through it. And then fortunately he had a big old bottle of antibacterial soap, so we were good.
So I'm just.
But I was crab walking all over the place there for a while.
I'm just doing the show notes as we go through this, and it starts off with clever references to incident that will be delved into later in the show. Oblique toilet jokes, dead frozen kids, back to the toilet. It's just going to be a very.
That's how Shawn's mind works. It's all right.
I guess he was just thinking about.
But y'all have been in similar
dropping off the
situations, right?
kids throughout the show.
Whether it's number 2 or some other compromise, you get yourself in a spot where a bodily function is butting up against the circumstances of your existence at that particular moment, and not really.
No, I've thrown underwear away before. Yes.
Have you?
Yeah. Hasn't everybody done that? Not pants. No, it's never made it through that second layer.
Have you ever woke yourself up that way?
What do you mean? Shit the bed?
Yeah.
Haven't I told the infamous story?
Oh no, I want to hear it.
I wish I could wipe this conversation from my mind.
I want to hear it.
Well, first off, after this happened, I told my wife, this is never to be discussed ever. And she goes, you've told everybody this story.
Well, you might as well tell more people.
Yeah, being one of the top-rated news commentary podcasts in the nation, I'm glad that your secret is safe with you and Julie.
I think it's fairly relatable, but we were in...
Mike doesn't know that word.
What?
Relatable? What, to people in an old folks' home? How often does this happen to you?
Relatable.
Of all places, we were in Prague in the Czech Republic, and
I love it already.
Spent a lot of time at a bar called the Ufleku, which is a super old bar.
It's one of the great. Yes, I was there in 1991. It's where they give you the black beer, and they bring little trays of pork cutlets and bread, and it is a epic place. You have to go.
Yeah, the problem is they also walk around with Bekatrovka, which is their national spirit, and they make it way too easy.
What's it like? What's it?
Bekatrovka, it's kind of like Jägermeister, but instead of licorice, it's cinnamon.
Okay.
Oh, it's not bad.
Sounds disgusting, but okay.
I, to this day, cannot drink it or smell it because it just brings back
PTSD. All right. Well, let's get to the PTSD.
Sounds like it would also sanitize your hands. So
let's
that's
get to the source of the PTSD.
So my in-laws were with us too. So it was Julie's parents, Julie, and myself, and we had a great time at Ufleku. It was excellent. Met a guy from Israel. a German guy, 2 Russian girls who were beautiful but smelled. That was my big takeaway from them.
Had they just urinated on a presidential candidate?
What year was this?
Oh, when was this? 2008, maybe 2009.
So not that long
No,
ago.
I don't think it was that long ago. And I'm a bit of a map nerd. Like I can look at them. It's like the only skill I have. I can look at a map and memorize it like that and just know my way around.
So can I.
places. Yeah.
That's going to be handy unless they come up with something on your phone where you can do that.
No, I know it's a completely outdated skill now. I know that, but I always liked it when we traveled a lot because I would never have to be that tourist with the map out looking around. And I've had people.
You knew east, west, north, south in your head, basically.
Pretty much, but I also knew the roads, right? Yeah. I just knew the main. It's just easy to get around. So I apparently blacked out at some point.
On the cinnamon liqueur.
Don't remember leaving it. Well, I know we had 24 total shots, and Julie's mom didn't drink any of it. So either her dad or I probably split the majority of them. So yeah, it was.
Wait, so you painted the bowl with your in-laws?
No. Yeah, you're getting ahead of the story.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just proud of the.
I'm savoring this. Let him cook.
I'm proud at the fact that
This isn't a show for long stories.
Well, if it's a good story, you had 12 shots. That's incredible.
At least I think I had more than that, but I'm a big guy. I can hold my booze really well.
It goes all to your calves.
But the whole point of that was just to say that I was very proud of myself for getting us home. Apparently blacked out because I don't remember getting home, but getting us on the subway and getting us back to the hotel. I was informed later that I was playing with a ferret on the subway, which just horrifies me and grosses me out. I don't like ferrets. I must have really been drunk.
Could it be a euphemism?
No, definitely not. There was somebody with an actual ferret was on.
Oh, wow.
On the.
You were playing with the ferret.
Yeah, which
were they on the way to put it in somebody's bathtub?
Probably. What does that mean?
The Big Lebowski. Dropped a ferret in the bathtub. Anyway,
so the point is, got home, passed out, whatever. Back to the hotel. Woke up the next morning, take a shower. I'm sitting down. I'm just really hungover. Julie's in the shower, and I bend over to put on my shoes, and had quite the accident on the bed. And immediately, it's one of those things when that happens, you just go, "Oh my god, what do I do?" Right? At least I do. I freeze, and I'm like, "Okay, how do I clean this up? What do I do?" And I tried to be very.
Did it make you gag?
Quiet. No, I've got a strong stomach. Like that, it was just like, I was more horrified at what my body did that I didn't have. I had no say over what happened. It just happened. Destroyed that bed. Went in and it was like, Julie's in the shower. Oh my god, I need every towel that we have, clean or dirty. Just made this giant wad of sheets and stuff. Stuck it by the door. Wrote the most broken apology letter to the maid. Left a hefty tip, which is interesting that the maid did not take the tip, but took the note. So I feel like she had a great laugh about it with the rest of the people that worked at the
She didn't take the tip.
She didn't take the tip. I don't know. It must not be in there. Yeah, but then she took the note, which I think is weird, and made up the room. It was very nice, and I was hungover for the rest of the day as we went around the city. And basically, that hotel no longer exists. I think they had to shut it down after that. It's just closed.
Because of your volcanic.
That was the least control I've ever had over my body was the next morning after a really drunken night in Prague.
Cyrus,
where I literally shit the bed.
Do you ever have to toot and you think it's air?
I'm not 3 years old.
Do you ever have to fart and you think it's air and it's not?
Yeah, a shart.
A shart?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
that never happens to Mike, though.
I mean, it's been years, and it's usually when you're sick.
It's happening right now.
He has much more control.
Is this conversation making you uncomfortable?
Yeah. Well, let's just put it this way. I thought we were going to leak a little something out, and it turns out it's blown all over the place. So, yes, I guess it's kind of...
That's a great story, by the way. Especially the 12, the 12 plus cinnamon shots.
Yeah, that was like the early days of Facebook too, and I think we're still. I never go on Facebook.
Now, what year?
I think I'm still friends with them. Thanks for listening to my story. It was around 2008. 2009.
No, I'm just doing the math because I had a blackout story in Prague in 1991.
See,
this is right after.
Who were you there with?
I was traveling with a buddy of mine, and we were splitting up after our visit to Prague. He wanted to go to Greece and hit the beach, and I wanted to go to Yugoslavia because they were getting ready to have a civil war, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting to check that out. So he obviously made the right call. But
what happened in Yugoslavia?
the Serbs and the Croats.
No, I know, but when you were there,
when I was there,
yeah, you said you went.
yeah. Well, it was this was a slow divorce, and so the several days I stayed in Belgrade, they didn't have any hostilities, anyways, and that was kind of far from the front. But I was.
So you were kind of into like a pre-ruin porn. You were rubbernecking.
Let's just say I was interested in being an eyewitness to history as a journalist. I thought maybe
that's one way. That's a way to sell it to yourself. That's good
to get involved. Sort of like Hemingway, only taller, and maybe a little more manly.
Wait, so you're saying is that bad to want to see like after
war up close? If you're a journalist, you're doing your job. But if you're just a tourist.
Well, I was a journalist on vacation.
But what's wrong with being curious?
But do other people suffering? I don't know. I mean,
I'm not reveling in it. I'm intrigued by it. Maybe that raises awareness.
Perhaps I was there to document the inhumanity and therefore move people to do something about it, as you were moved earlier today.
I can relate to it in sports. It's a big part of being a sports fan, right? I think people enjoyed watching the misery on the Kansas City sideline Sunday night, right?
People come to Detroit to look at, the Packard plant.
They do.
The central train station before it was redone. And
especially Europeans.
And you know what? It doesn't bother me. I don't care. They're here. They're spending money here.
What was the most memorable part of the Wild World of Sports intro? Was it the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, where that
crash
skier
off the
goes
ski jump? Yeah,
Let me ask you on your moral
ass over
compass,
elbows.
Is it okay to take a tour, a Hurricane Katrina tour?
If you want to see afterwards?
Well, yeah, it's a little hard to see during.
Hurricane Katrina? Who's your travel agent?
I'll admit, we went, there was a tour where you could see the destruction and how widespread it went.
You're curious that way, though. You like to turn your television shows into reality, right? Your dark shows. You want to.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing it to.
Have you ever driven through a tornado, a post-tornado zone?
No. But I would love to be a storm chaser.
Every time you go to East Lansing, you drive through a post-tornado.
Was that remake any good, by the way, with Glenn Powell, Twister?
No.
You saw it?
No, didn't see it. I'm just sure it wasn't good.
Oh, you're just positive.
The first one sucked.
So what happened to your blackout, Michael?
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. So anyway, we were it was our last day in Prague, and we were hitting the pubs as we normally did, and I ended up at some jazz club, and my friend left to
Prague?
go.
A jazz club doesn't sound like a place you'd black out at. That sounds like more of a reflective, vibing kind of place.
They do sell libations at a jazz club, and I think Charlie Parker blacked out a lot of jazz clubs, but it was mainly because he was riding the white horse.
I was going to say that's a little bit of a different.
But and I think Miles Davis imbibed all kinds of things while performing jazz. But anyways, the most American of musical idioms. But the day had been, you eat at these different places, you're drinking whatever. My friend left, and I was left at the bar with this guy from East Berlin because Berlin was still split up, and a guy from Austria, who may have been the most handsome man in the world. And we were just sitting at a table, and I went to the bathroom, and all of a sudden something hit me, and I was just like vomiting, like uncontrollably. I think I'd eaten something earlier that probably didn't sit well with me. And I was so sick, I just kind of crawled into a stall and just kind of was going to lay there. And
in a public place?
At the bar, in the club.
Gross.
And this was late at night in Prague. Again, this was, the Iron Curtain had just fallen. It was still very much a post-communist dominated place. And I don't know where the hell the authorities would have taken me if they found me. But these two guys who I only knew because we were staying at the same youth hostel and we'd gone to the bar together came and grabbed me and threw me in the back of a cab, and we went back to the hostel, and I woke up in the morning feeling like death warmed over. But I felt very lucky that these two guys, who I had only a tangential connection to, basically rescued me, because that time an American with some cash and a passport found passed out in a club bathroom was probably a very valuable commodity. And due to the grace and the kindness of these two dudes, who I don't think I know their names, I didn't know them then, I don't think, and I sure as hell can't remember them now, rescued me. And it was.
Did you meet anybody before you blacked out? Did you meet any?
You mean, did I get dosed?
Well, did you meet any gals over there?
Gals?
No, I wouldn't have objected to it, but we were just kind of traveling and seeing the sights.
Because you were talking about your manliness and your height and your Hemingway kind of brooding observations and all that amazing talent. So
I would have thought the most handsome man in Prague could have, given me a second choice there, but no, he was content just to save my life, so I figured we'd call it even.
By the way, cool city.
Beautiful city.
Just, best architecture I've ever seen.
Yeah. Was everything still blackened when you were there?
What do you mean?
I mean,
I didn't see any black people.
Everything was covered with soot.
Oh,
because,
no, not at all.
Those Eastern Bloc countries it was all coal, so there's a massive air pollution everywhere, and all the churches and all the buildings had a layer of black soot on them.
Not at all. It's an incredibly
dark city.
Stunning city.
Yeah,
great people too.
Very nice, very friendly.
how was the food? Or did you guys not eat?
I think that's why I got poisoned by
You just drank. You just drank. You didn't really eat.
Food was.
Every bar we went to,
I don't think they're really known for the cuisine in Czechia.
Had pork cutlets.
You'd get some sort of sausage, and you know how sometimes you get sausage and there's like a little white pellet in it or something you can't bite?
That's just a little
That's
fat,
the flavor.
a little grizzle.
Yeah,
It's a spice ball.
Again, it's a very poor country at that time. And so when you ate the sausage, it was mostly that white ball. There was very little meat around it. It was very nasty. But and I wrote a story for the Free Press. I freelanced a story from the Free Press about what life in Prague was like just after the Iron Curtain fell.
All the way back in 91? Good for you.
Back in 91, yeah. So it's
good for you.
How did we get here?
I don't know, but that's...
Shawn couldn't find any toilet paper. No, Drew couldn't spare a square. Couldn't spare a ply.
And there we go.
So.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Well, this is completely and utterly unintentional. We're transitioning.
That's right. I just realized what it
into
was.
our Geek of the Week. But Eric Lawrence, our colleague at the Detroit Free Press, good man, good union man, reports that management at a Stellantis engine plant in Indiana are on the lookout for a messy bathroom user. But as Eric says, this individual isn't just leaving a little trash behind. The mess includes wiping feces on bathroom walls, disability handlebars, door latches and sinks, and leaving piles, and that's in quote, on the floor, according to a letter from management at the Kokomo plant.
Why? Why
has
would
been
someone...
posted on social media and expresses some clear exasperation. So I don't know. The company is baffled by this. It says it does nothing other than foul our facilities and create...
I liked the Stellantis' response, which is like, okay, you know what? We're not cleaning this up anymore until the end of the day. So you guys just lost the bathroom.
Yeah, they said it exposed the teams to potentially dangerous biohazards.
Well, yeah, gross.
So
is that just one disgruntled asshole employee doing it?
I think there's no question assholes involved. It's just whose is the question.
I mean, it's not a jokester.
No. Well, so this happens. I've worked at two places.
What? Really?
Where there were pooping bandits.
What?
Yeah, when I worked at the Daily Southtown on the south side of Chicago, I think we had just gone through some layoffs or something like that. And so this newsroom had just moved into an old department store. And so we had this massive, massive space with an escalator going right through the middle of it, which was really weird. And you walk down this long corridor to get to the break room, which was divided into two sections. One of them was just kind of a room with some tables, and the other portion had some vending machines in it, and it was walled off with glass because people used it as a smoking room. And there was a guy there. He was a long timer at the Southtown, tall guy, real nice guy named Mike Nolan, who I was walking into the break room, and I saw him walking out of the smoking room with this look on his face like he'd just seen some sort of specter, some sort of hobgoblin or something. And it turns out he went in there and someone had left a turd on one of the chairs in the smoking room.
What?
Yes, and this happened a couple times. So they're like, okay, who's responsible for this? The culprit was never found. It was a perfect crime. Apparently they can't dust for doo-doo. And we also couldn't tell, did somebody take it and leave it there, or was this a spontaneous emission? We didn't know. So then fast forward to the Free Press a couple of years later.
That's amazing, though, to actually take a turd with you somewhere. right?
I mean,
Transport it.
People pick up their dog's poop and carry it around. I guess it could be the same
suppose,
thing. But
yeah.
I guess you'd probably have to capture the object before it made a splashdown. If you, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that much, but
I'm not going to tell the story. Go ahead.
Let's just say it was a very visceral form of protest. And then I left and went to the Free Press, and not too long after that, I was at the Free Press, and I don't know what was going on, but somebody was smearing feces on the walls in the men's bathroom. And so it became known that there was another brown bomber.
Why?
No idea. I guess somebody was just really, really unhappy, but it's kind of a bold move because
you know what though?
somebody walks in. It's not like
it's not
like
you're fling their poop or anything.
No, but Drew talks about Dr. Disgusto used to do it when he was in elementary school. Guy would write Dr. Disgusto with his feces and stuff.
I think that may be what we want to call this episode.
But the problem with that, like, okay, so if you're mad at management, who are you really punishing here but the cleaning crew?
Yeah, most bosses have their own can.
Of course, it's childish and stupid, but I don't think you're getting the point and the win that you think you're getting.
Yeah, no. I mean, in terms of
trying to sow chaos, I suppose.
Yeah,
but I maybe it's just the way I think. Is I just think about that poor cleaning crew that has to go in there and deal with it. Well, they didn't do anything.
Well, that's the other thing. You figure you're trying to strike a blow for the little guy.
Yeah.
Well, who do you think's going to be scrubbing that wall?
Exactly.
The little guy.
Yeah.
So Stellantis said their plan was to lock the bathrooms found in this grotesque state rather than have them cleaned and returned to service right away until an investigation could be completed.
I feel like that'll help shake loose the culprit.
I think there's too much being shaken loose here, actually, Mark. The company did later backtrack and say they would make sure the bathrooms are clean and accessible for employees. But if you are the one trying to make things unpleasant for your fellow employees at what we might call the number 2 automaker in the big 3, you are my Geek of the Week.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
Normally we have kind of a plan for the show, but today we're flying by the seat of our pants. Yeah. And you can see why we probably should never, ever do that again. Every single aspect of this show, intentional or otherwise, seems to be very derriere-driven. And Luke Nowacki, a very sophisticated gentleman, is no exception. He says some podcast producers might think that planning for retirement can be a pain in the butt. It doesn't have to be that way. If your preparations A through G are a resounding failure, maybe you let Luke Nowacki help you out with your preparation H. Hopefully, he can provide some relief in your time of pain and confusion. Call or text Luke at 248-663-4748 because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. member FINRA-SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. is separately owned and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc.
Luke, I was helping to keep you away from this, but you kind of put yourself right in the middle of it. We're in room 7609 where we accept great suggestions for songs that you've maybe never heard of, or maybe it's a song that everybody knows, but there's a story connected to it. And we are playing a little catch-up this week. I'm sorry to say, sometimes we get behind. Thomas writes and says, I certainly understand the show's encouragement of bloviated requests for featured songs in room 7609. However, being that the blowhard host toss incessantly without leaving much time for others, I shall be brief. He says, M.L. admitting of over-imbibing at the Killer Cares event, he's told us about this before, had me imagining said reporter karaokeing to Root Boy Slim and the Sex Change Band's Boogie Till You're Puke. I guess that's a reference to Prague, but how do you know that in December when we didn't tell the story till February? It's amazing. It's a miracle. Regardless, here's Root Boy Slim and the Sex Change Band
What a name.
with Boogie Till You Puke.
Boogie till you puke. Pop that like a room. Let's really zoom. Shooting and a tooting. All night long. The party lasts till your brain cells gone. Get on down and boogie tonight. Don't hold nothing back. You know it's alright. Wow, wow, somebody help me. Wow, got the boogie. Really got the boogie. I start with port. Drank 2 or 3 quart. I drank Pernod. Then boogie some more. Speeding 2 weeks on wire mine. Don't mix too good with icebox wine. Get on down and do it right. Really got the boogie. Got the boogie tonight. Wow, got the boogie. Wow, got the boogie. Wow, got the boogie. Oh, wow, wow. Somebody got the boogie. Everybody got the boogie. Put a quarter in the juke. Boogie till you puke. From a big boss line. It's puking time. Cleaning woman. Found me on the floor. Can't wait till tomorrow to boogie some more. Really got the boogie. Really got the boogie. Really, really, really got to go. Really got the boogie. 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 I got the boogie. My life, flashed before my eyes. I gotta get on down. It's too fast for me. It's too fast for me. I can't keep up. I got to get on down. I got to boogie on down. Wow, wow, boogie, boogie. Wow, wow, boogie, boogie. Wow, wow, boogie, boogie. Wow, wow, boogie, boogie. Wow, wow.
That song's gross.
And
Yeah, can we move on? What's the next segment?
fits in perfectly with this week's episode. I think we may need to title this one "Skip This Episode."
That's gross.
Why you don't want people sharing fun stories here?
It's very
Like Mark
lavatorial.
did?
I just think my mom listens to this show.
Too much fun to you?
No, it's
Mark had a great story about cinnamon shit.
Oh,
maybe that's what we'll call it.
There we.
Anyway, I guess what I'm telling you folks is if we played Thomas's entry into room 7609, there's no chance that we won't play yours. So send us a good
Thank
tune
you, Thomas.
and a great story, or a horrible tune and a great story.
Thank you, Thomas.
And we will share that with our audience here on room 7609. Regretfully, Room 7609 is brought to you this week by the Caju Cafe, and I say regretfully because they're kind of a sophisticated operation. They have great food, they have great music, and they have great times. Feather bowling, anybody want to try feather bowling?
Yeah.
If you're interested, it's only at the Caju Cafe. Wednesdays, they have karaoke. Thursday, the Bill Meyer Group Trio Open Jam. On Friday, the Broken Arrow Blues Band, Detroit-style electric blues and boogie. Saturday, Shawn Jovi, I'm assuming that may be a tribute band, and Slow Wave. Sunday, Planet D None, and Monday, Tasha Owens and the Stable Dudes Open Jam. And of course, Monday is Muscle Madness, all-you-can-eat mussels, a Belgian delicacy. Not a big mussels guy, but I love the frites. Oh, moules frites, they call them. It's
All the food in Belgium.
It's a delicacy. So
have you been there too?
I have. Love it.
Not only a great country,
Bruges.
but a great movie. In Bruges.
Nice. Oh, what a great city. Yeah. I like Brussels, though, too.
Russell's a nice town. Have you seen the mannequin pissing boy?
Yeah, mannequin pig.
And they have a replica of that at Caju Cafe. So check.
Oh,
it
they
out.
do. Do they put him in a different costume every day like they do in Belgium?
No, but he does stand near the restroom. Right. So, and if you need to borrow some toilet paper,
I remember growing up. So the only ethnicity we really know is Belgian, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm part Belgian, and I remember my grandma always had that statue. I'm like, what is that? When I was a little kid, so now I have it.
When my grandparents came back, they would always bring us a souvenir. They brought my brother and I each like a little metal paperweight of the mannequin pissing boy, and we were, I don't know, middle school or high school. Like, look what we got.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And when I went to Belgium on a fellowship when I was a young reporter, I was like, oh, wow, they really do have some kid pissing here, and it's a really big deal.
When you were there, did you
went on a fellowship?
I did.
Did you see, is it Jennikin pee or piss?
No.
The female version?
I think that cost extra, doesn't it?
You know, there's a female statue, too.
I did not know
or
that.
a fountain, and there's also a dog. I don't think the dog's a fountain, but it's a statue of him pissing.
You guys are very worldly.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Belgium.
Says the guy that stole a moped in Japan.
I'm not worldly, but you guys are very worldly, and Mike likes to let you know about it. But you hide yours. I like that.
I don't hide mine.
Just
I just don't have to show it off.
Trying to provide people some context, Shawn. I was on a fellowship when I went to collect the Nobel Prize, but I didn't really want to
do it for me, Shawn.
That's cool that you went that you got a fellowship. I like that.
Yeah, I thought it was important that people didn't know I went on vacation just to watch statues piss.
Like me.
Well,
and a tour.
Yeah, apparently you hit all the spots. I mean,
and the tour Hurricane Katrina.
Did they have a cat spraying some curtains somewhere that you caught on the way home?
I would have gone and seen it.
He wrote about Prague, too. You know, he hustled. Just for the listeners, that means he went there on vacation and then reached out to a news organization and said, hey, can I write a piece about this? And got that done. That's cool.
I worked on a story from Greece too, but I don't want to bore you with that.
No. Mike's always been. I've always admired his entrepreneurial sort of soul. You know what I mean, Mark?
I think I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Absolutely.
We are planning a big event at the Caju later this summer, where we're going to have Shasta Fox and the King's English playing. We're going to have some premium opportunities for our soulmates. So please consider becoming a soulmate. We have lots of different levels. If you want to come here and sit in studio with us, maybe bring some toilet paper. If you become a member at the $50 a month level, you can come and sit in on one of our shows. For just $5 a month, you get to watch the show. You get our bonus episode. You get the show before anybody else does. And
Is this a bonus episode?
Have to listen to... I would say it's just the opposite. This may be a disincentive to support this show, and I say that with a heavy heart and an empty bag. As
I thought you were going to say.
Would say
that's
it's tough to golf with a full bag.
Bowel.
I thought he always said full bag.
Bowel. Well, he has said full bag, but that's a different reference.
Sorry, Mark. I didn't expect you to know as much about the Drew and Mike shows I do, having only been there for every episode for like 20-something years. We appreciate your support, and there's an old-fashioned way you can support the show. A one-time donation, we call it the Shawn Windsor method. You can just make a large deposit once, but it makes a big splash for us, and that's by going to mlsoulofdetroit.com and hitting the donate button. You could spend a penny if they're still around, or you could just make a donation of any amount using PayPal or Venmo. It's really easy, and we appreciate it tremendously. I would like to share some feedback with you, but I think at this point, I just want to be done with it all. I just want to take a hot shower somewhere. Not here. Absolutely not here. After what we've just learned about the crime that was committed in that very place. But Shawn, what are you working on? What's coming up for the Free Press? You thinking of
spring training's
some time off?
The pitchers and catchers reported, right? So
yeah, now's the tough time, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not. But I'm not part of that. We got college basketball, hockey's on. The NHL's on hiatus. The NBA's still on hiatus here for another couple days. So, yeah, college basketball.
Oof.
I know. Right. Nobody cares.
Yeah, just write about the Lions. Find a way to write.
Yeah, I'll keep writing about the Lions.
Okay. Who also shit the bed in the playoffs. Once again, it's an inescapable theme. Well, we appreciate your support, and we look forward to joining you next week here on The Soul of Detroit. Until then, we turn to our friend Cyrus to take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Why has Hollywood star
Shawn Windsor
switched to new improved Dream shampoo? Because compared to dulling soap shampoos, this wonderful new Dream reveals up to 33% more sheen. Follow
Shawn's
secret for shining hair.
It's new Dream for Hollywood sheen. Improved Dream for Hollywood sheen. Your hair can have that Hollywood sheen. The very first time you use new Dream, get wonderful new Dream shampoo. New Dream.